Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSIDFS Fantasy NASCAR Picks. I'm your host, Mega31. Before we begin, a quick commercial. If you like baseball, spring training is going on right now, and not many people are covering it, but FSI, we are. The core that I threw out today, I know some of the guys hit pretty good. I was one batter off. If I went Fiel on Boston over um, Duran, I probably would have taken down the $1,000 top prize. So if you're interested in playing some spring training baseball, then go to our website description in the video, and our package is very cheap there to get in, and come check that out for some. It's kind of fun, some like daytime entertainment. We cover usually the 1 o'clock slate. There's 3 o'clock slate, but the prize pools are very small, so sometimes we'll throw out a core for that, but most of the time. But I'm giving you usually like a pitcher data sheet, a batter's data sheet, cores, and we got some other guys in the team too that are helping out with that. So come check that out. Second of all, thank you so much for last week's video views. Amazing. 1.4, 1,000, like 400. So really, really cool. I appreciate the support, appreciate the views. And if we ever get up to 2,000 views at any point, I'll start giving some free stuff away. So encourage your friends are into NASCAR, just come check out the video, and hopefully we can continue to grow this. And I appreciate how far we started off. We were like 200, 300, like when we did this like 6 years ago, or and then we've continued to grow to this point. So just thank you so much for your viewership and everything. And last week the results after the Xfinity race were a little bit of a letdown. Mid cash, a lot of flex and stuff. I think Xfinity went well. I know a lot of people had a host of fire on the end of their day early, but I did pretty well. Put about $30 down, won about 150. So I was happy with the results. Prime plays were pretty much spot on, and the fill-ins were pretty good. And a lot of the guys in the Discord were posting that just using the sheet, they're able to do some pretty have some pretty solid days. Not as the epic days that we had last week and where we like taught takedowns, but again, it was another solid day. So, uh, if you're just tuning in now and you didn't pay attention or watch the Xfinity race or anything like that, we're at Circuit of America. We're off of two straight super speedways. So now we're onto a road course, first one of the year, and this one's a little bit different than it has been in the past. They have the shorter, like, so what, 2.4 mile one over like the 3 mile one. So there's a little bit more action. It was Xfinity race was pretty cool. It looks like there's a little bit easier to pass. You still have 20 turns, but they're come up quicker, and I think it's a little bit more braking, a little bit more strategy. So we'll see what goes there. So how you want to approach this one is you usually want to find one or two guys in the top 10 for finishing position and then look for place differential. Unlike Xfinity, I think you can use some more people down towards the bottom because Xfinity had some real dogs that you knew weren't going to do really well. But I think you want to kind of find the sweet spot. A lot of the optimals we've seen have drivers that have come from like the 20s with place differential, mixed in with some of the guys that were up front and finish well. I have Dominators listed on here, but I'll explain like why I listed them. The Dominators I have is like cash people that I think could win, or like upside people that I think could win this race. And you really want that. Like if somebody goes out there and leads every single lap, then of course they're going to have like a decent amount of points. But it's a road course. It's just like the super speedways where you're driving 2.5 miles per lap, and there's only uh, what is it, like 80 laps or something. So you don't have a ton of fast laps, and sometimes the fast laps come from cars that aren't in traffic, that just are looking at the schedule to see if it tells me how many. I don't like One thing I really do not like, and I don't know if you're too, is like NASCAR.com has been terrible this year. It's hard to find qualifying, and they used to like you used to go right on there and be able to go right to the race and get like the entry lists and get the practice results and the qualifying results. And it has been horrible this year. Horrible, horrible, horrible. So So I apologize that I don't have off the top of my head the laps in this race, but it's not on the NASCAR, but I'll put it down in the chat. So it's not super important, but what is important is there's not a ton of them. It's not like Bristol where you have 400 laps and there's a lot of fast lap points up for grabs, and there's a lot of laps led that can add up really fast with somebody that's out there out front. So, we saw a couple different lead changes. Like Harrison Burton was leading the race in one stage too. So, I mean, if that tells you anything from the Xfinity race, there's a lot of different strategies that go on. Now, one of the things that's a little different in the Xfinity races, you had a lot of people that weren't there racing for stage points. A majority of the drivers here are. So look at the drivers' numbers. If they're in dark green or they're yellow means a rookie, then they are drivers that are racing for uh, in the regular season for the title for the playoffs. The ones that are in pink, Byron and Bell, they already won races this year. So it doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to be racing for stage points and things like that, but they have a little bit more because they're pretty much locked into the playoffs unless something goofy happens and like a new person wins every single race and then they have to um if more than 16 people run races, that's not a guarantee, but it's seldom that happens. It's most you see a lot of repeat winners and stuff. So I think Byron and Bell are safely in the playoffs. So and Zilich is just filling in here in this extra track house car. So they have the option of what's called short pitting. So if the top 10 are up there and they're fighting for stage points, these three, if they're a little bit further back in the field, can pit before the stage is over. So then they go back on the track and then everybody else pits and they can come out ahead and gain track position when everybody else has to pit. And it's a viable strategy for those who are not running for stage points or those who are back in the fields like Harrison Burton, and I think Ryan Sieg was up there also, who started like in the back to try to get back position and try to hold it. Sometimes the leaders can get back in front of them and pass them, which happened today, but they still had some really good finishing positions because of like the short pitting strategy. So that's one thing to keep in mind here. If you're looking at the colors, if you haven't watched these videos before, for road races, the baby blue ones are drivers that are above average on road courses. It doesn't mean they're super proficient. They only used to run two road courses back in the day. So just be Watkins Glen. It used to be Sonoma, and they didn't run them so much that most of the drivers would just go and go through the motions, survive in advance, just try to have a good day, and then on to next week. And they mostly hated them. But during COVID, they were the thing that were open the most. So like they just really picked up a lot of road courses. This next gen car was designed to be a road course car that can run on super speedways versus where they have a super speedway car that they're trying to adapt to road courses. Sometimes they even had a special road course car that they used to bring out. And it wasn't what they ran on super speedways, which was real detriment to the smaller teams trying to have like two cars and for their program instead of like one car that can do everything, which they have now. So those are the baby blue ones. We've had ringers before, like Boris said, and some other people that came in. I guess you could call Connor Zillich could be a ringer. And usually what I'll do is I'll give them like a brown designation as a ringer. And the darker blue ones are, since we switched to the next gen car, the people that have been um, pretty much elite there. I've seen a couple of graphics on X and around just talking about how this group of drivers has been even better. And almost all the guys are turning blue because they've run to so many road courses. Like 3, 4 years ago, it was maybe like 25% of the field. Now it's obviously over half. So I felt really needed to differentiate between the people that are proficient on road courses and the people that are even better than the proficient people on road courses. and you have some people that have been elite over the years too, and like Allmendinger has been super solid, um, and obviously Zolich won the Xfinity race today, and that's just that's how we just kind of want to call them out just to help you as you make your build. So again, strategy, you want some place differential, probably from like the 20s. You want to try to nail the top who is probably going to win this. So Tyler Reddick out the pole, 2311 looks really good here. I mean, Hertzl is a 2311 car also, but he's a rookie. Um, so he hasn't had like a ton of experience in this type of car, but like still he practice was 21st, which if you look at the practice data, and again, you got to take practice with a grain of salt because sometimes people don't want to show their cards in practice. Like Denny Hamlin is really good at that. Like sometimes he doesn't want to show his cards in practice, or they actually use practice to go out and work on things, or they find an issue in practice and they go out and fix it, and they're really not going for speed. Then there's other cars that go out there and actually just run as fast as they can in practice. And again, you're trying to get used to a newer road course. The ones that they ran the last couple of years is a longer course. This one's a little bit different, braking, things like that, trying to figure it all out. So Reddick and Bubba Wallace are 1 and 2 there. It's 2311. Reddick has been really good at road courses. So I think he's one that you can look if for a dominator in your lineup if you want to try to pick the winner here. Wallace, I think, is going to fall back. I don't know if he's really going to finish in the top five, maybe even the top 10. So I don't think I'm playing him in any format. Elliott very well could win this also. He's been not as good on road courses since the next gen car, even though he's got the color. Like back before the next gen car, he was like so good, but I think he's still good enough to consider a threat to win this. So he's got the purple dom tag. Hocevar, I believe he was running the Xfinity race to try to go out there and get practice for this, and he didn't make it. He only made it 3 laps. So, yeah, Jed Burton got into him. I don't know if it was necessarily his fault completely, but he was done after 3 laps and ruined a lot of people's lines. Starting fourth up here, he was okay in the truck series, but I really don't feel that he gets the proficiency tag even yet. So I gotta fade him. Though he was 13th fastest in practice, I just can't comprehend that he would stay in the top five or in the top 10. I mean, he might be the ultimate YOLO play here, but I really don't want any shares of him. So fade for me. Suarez, he won a road course last year. If it was COTA or if it was Sonoma, one of them. I can't remember which one, but he he's definitely been okay on him. So I think he's got uh, an outside shot to potentially win this one. So that's why I have him as an upside dominator. Practice speed 7. Trackhouse has been good. Obviously, he and Shane Van Gisberger up here. Van Gisbergen is like elite in road courses. That's why he's the prime play here. I think he's gonna be chalky. He's the fastest car in practice, and probably some of the things and pointers as sharing with Suarez and this Trackhouse team who does really good in road courses, and then Ross Chastain is just down a couple more um, from him. So I definitely think track, and you have Zilich who won the Xfinity race, and another Trackhouse car here. I think they're all going to be very competitive and good. So Suarez, I think, is an upside dominator, but Shane Van Gisberger is definitely where I'm starting my line. But as a prime, and if you want to go more place differential and use him in the place of the purple dom as who you think is going to win this race, I think that's completely appropriate to do. Kyle Larson is going to be the third one I give the Dom. Fourth in practice. He is I'm surprised that he wasn't in the top 10 list that I saw of people. It's a next gen car, but he's run on dirt and all kinds of tracks, and he's been very competitive in road courses. He won the Xfinity race here last year. Different car, it was a different track, but he definitely has the pedigree to do it. So I gave him the purple dominator either. So I think you want to start your lineup with Reddick, Elliott, Van Gisbergen, or Larson, or maybe two of them for cash. Kyle Busch, he's had some decent road course runs, but practice 31st. I mean, he got up here like eighth and qualifying. And there's a difference, like in sometimes in practice when you're running traffic and when you're only the car on the track to be out there and do better. So he's the GPP, just way too volatile, doesn't have the floor for me for cash. Chastain, I think, has upside to potentially win this race, but sometimes he's overly aggressive, and that can burn him a little bit or get him punted off the course. Gillian, we love playing him. He's usually a great value play, usually a steady Eddie guy that blue collar lunchbox one. He and Bowman, I really feel that are just kind of usually every single week a solid cash play just because they always have floor. But in a road course here, 34th in practice, I know he got up in the top 10. I just really want to see a little bit more from him before I can like I think he's proficient in a road course better than some of the other ones, but I think he's GPP play just based on all the other potential guys that could get up ahead of him. Hamlin is not a great road course driver in this car. Like he got the pole, I think, at the first in 2011, I think, or 2020, maybe it was when they first like they added some fake road courses during COVID, and one of them was either Daytona or Charlotte, where they just went and decided to put cones up and have them drive through like the infield and like access lanes and stuff and try to make like a backyard road course. I always like my famous analogy is if I go into the backyard and I throw a garbage bag over a slide and run a hose down it, did I create a water park? No. I created a fun experience for my kids, hopefully, but I didn't necessarily recreate a water park like um like a real water park. And to me, Watkins Glen and Sonoma and Circuit of America, these those are real road course tracks. But like the Daytona one and like the Roval and like Indy, even though they do have like their series of cars drive on them, I just don't feel like they're like when you have it at a super speedway and they're like driving on the track a little bit and then driving through like the infield and stuff, even though you have like tried to make it into a road course, it's not the same as going to Sonoma and Watkins Glen and Circuit of America to go out and drive it. So Hamlin, I think, was better on fake road courses, not great on real road courses. So again, I think he's a GPP here. Allmendinger, I have him as another one. You always have to consider AJ Allmendinger as someone that can go out and win. He understands it. He, before Shane Van Gisberger and now like Colin Zillick, who come out, was like the head of the class, the one that would run road courses in every series and go out there and be the number one person and almost a ringer in each. But colleague program has stepped back a little bit. I don't know if it's just been because he's been bouncing back and forth between Xfinity and Cup, and now he's just fully focusing on the Cup. He didn't run the road course today. I still think he's a threat, but I don't feel that he's like a slam dunk as much as like Larson, Van Gisbergen, Elliott, or Reddick might be. So he's got the upside down play. Ty Gibbs, like, he used to be really good at road courses in Xfinity. He's in Cup Series. He just seems to be like sliding backwards. I know he's still like young and not super experienced here, so maybe this is year. Like last year, early on, he was like knocking on the door. He's so close, and then it just seemed like he just kind of faded through the course of the year. So he's got the 100 a tag on him because I think people will overlook him with all these other sexy options, especially in this price range. I think they look at Chastain or Allmendinger over him. So just because people might sleep on him and he might have like low to medium ownership. I think I'm going to throw him in my 100K line. Zilich, like I said, probably considering prime play, but I just, with all the talent up here in the Cup Series, I just don't know if he's going to be as good here, but he's definitely a threat. He's definitely going to be high owned. He's definitely going to be a cash play for you. William Byron, I really like him here also as a cash play. Um, I know he was like 14th in practice and starting 15th, and I think he can get up in 10 place differential points and get into the top five. He has been solid on road courses. And the other thing here is he's playing with house money. So he can short pit. He doesn't need to stay out to try to get stage points necessarily. And he can use that to try to get track position. And he's strong enough and good enough driver to hold it. And he did run the Xfinity Series today and he finished second, had a solid outing there too. So he's seen the new course and he's familiar with it. Michael McDowell, I think, is another person that people will forget was a good road course driver and has had some very solid finishes. Started 16th, um, moved practice was speed was 12th overall. 7,500 is a nice price tag, so he's gonna be the second person in my 100K lineup. Grayson and Briscoe, yeah, the projection for Grayson is like really low. I think. I think that he's eighth in practice. Again, he's another one that kind of concerns me, like John Hunter Nemechek and like Ross Chastain, where they just sometimes they're overly aggressive. We saw that a lot in Xfinity Series, where he tries to run people over or like beat people to a spot instead of like picking and choosing his battles, and sometimes that causes people to retaliate and doesn't end up well for Gregson. So I think he's a GPP. I think he'll finish in the top 20, but I don't know if he's going to advance to get the place differential to be optimal. I like the price tag on it at 58, but if I'm playing somebody in that price range, I'm probably dropping down like Herbst or Jones or maybe even like Ryan Priest, who's got more options or like upside for place differential and can't hurt me if they fall back and lose me negative points. Briscoe, I've always liked on road courses just because he's always been really good at shifting, especially with a shorter um, track. You're going to have to do more of that with braking. He's in a good Joe Gibbs car here, but I didn't really see anything in practice and qualifying that made me feel like I usually look for 4x value, and he's at 3.9. Um, so he's so close to a cash play, and if he's the last man in your cash lineup, I don't hate it, but it's going to be GPP for me. Christopher Bell, I'm going to give a prime play here. And most, I don't know if most of the industry is going to have him as a prime play. But again, same reasoning as Byron, but I like the savings here of $800. I like the fact that he has more place differential upside. My model kind of really likes him here. I think he's got the third highest projected total. And it's because he's a good road course driver and he's playing with house money. He's already won. He can short pit. He can play for, go out there and go for the win and go for track position over stage points. This is huge, especially in races like this. So I think he's going to be highly owned. But I think some people might like kind of sleep on him too, because I think they're going to gravitate more towards the people that like the Zilliches and the Allmendingers and try to get Reddick in and Shane Van Ginsberger. And I think that 92, you're not going to be able to get him in and look at him as a place differential play. I think people are going to try to jam in the people that have been really good at road courses. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but the way I'm approaching the slate is I want Bell as my second prime. Sorry. Zane Smith, just kind of like Grayson, his 30th in practice. I almost put a fade on him. I just think he's going backwards. Alex Bowman, I think, is going to be a popular play in cash. He looked really good out there in practice, had some really good speed. Second to only Shane Van Gisbergen. Um, and really qualifying didn't go as well. So I think that's going to bode well for him for place differential. Again, he's a really good floor guy. He goes out there. He's blue collar guy grabs his lunchbox, and he's one I always say that you're watching the results of the race, and you're like, oh, hey, where do you come from? Alex Bowman finished seventh, started 21st, 14 place differential points. That's great. So I think you can take that. I think the floor is good. I think he's definitely going to finish in the top 20, and I think he has like an outside shot to potentially get into the top 15, maybe even sniff the top 10. Ricky Stenhouse, same thing as Gregson and Chastain, but he's just not proficient at road courses, so he's a fade for me. 35th, was able to qualify 22nd, but you put him around a bunch of cars, he ends up in a bunch of obstacles. So um, he's gotten better over the course of the year, but I just don't trust him. Logano has gotten better at road courses. I finally gave him the blue, I think, recently. He's starting to get more proficient. 17th in practice, 22nd or 23rd starting place. I have him as a cash play, even though he doesn't get to the 4X, but I think that he's got the upside to really hasn't started the season great. So I think that really needs some redemption, and I think that this is a good place to go out there and get a solid finish. Don't think he's going to win the race. Don't think he's going to lead at any point, but I think he's definitely has some place differential offside to be have some floor for you for cash. Busher, a stronger play here. I know he's almost $1,000 more expensive, but and I think maybe he might get overshadowed by Bowman, who people will probably pay $200 more dollars for, just seeing like how well he looked in practice. Busher didn't, but Busher has been like very, very solid and sneaky good and up in like the top 10 on road courses. So and all the factors are still there. A lot of these guys that had success in the past have changed well, not drivers, but have changed like manufacturers or changed teams or changed like personnel on their pit crew or crew chief or car manager, things like that. I I think a lot of the stuff has stayed the same pretty much for RFK Racing, and I think Busher's got to be a really solid pick here as a cash play for you. Lady, I'm going to give 100K. He has not been great in proficient road courses, but um, I think through attrition and stuff, he can move up and have a solid day. And I think people kind of will sleep on him. Kozlowski, GPP, he just didn't look good down here. Austin Dillon, same thing. Ryan Preece, they're all pretty much the same play. And if I'm going to play somebody down here in the starting position, I'm going to drop $1,000 or 1,200 and play like Preece or Dillon over Keselowski. But I really don't see a scenario where I'd play any of them. I do like Justin Haley down here at 63. Good at road courses and Xfinity. 11th in practice, and I think that he definitely has the upside to get some place differential points, even if it's like 4 or 5 to get into the top 25 at 63. I think that's solid enough floor for a cash play. Full Custer, just coming back up from Xfinity. He's run really well in road courses where he didn't get taken out by like Parker Klingerman or Sheldon Freed. Sometimes he got run off the road by them in a couple road races where he's doing really well in Xfinity. But I think his practice was a little bit underwhelming for me, so that's why I have him as a GPP play. But I think he is in play. Herbst, no, sorry. Did I say Haley? I get confused with Haley and Herbst sometimes. Haley's been in Cup for a while. He drove for Rick Ware, I believe it was last year, and then they did a trade, and Cody Ware went to Rick Ware, and Haley went to Spire, and no, sorry, it was he's not even in the field this week. Wow. So, but anyways, Haley switched out of Rick Ware. It wasn't Cody Ware's car. Y'all know who I'm talking about. It's on the tip of my tongue, but it's really late at night and I can't remember his name. Corey LaJoy. There it is. So, LaJoy was okay on road courses, so that's why I think Halo would be fine here. But Herbst is the one that came up from Xfinity. and he's in the 2311 car here. I think he's a solid cash play also. And Jones, like both these guys, I know Jones didn't look great in practice, and the Legacy Motorsports cars have been like almost second class Fords. It seems like obviously the Gibbs and the 2311 are so far ahead of them, but I think that Jones still has enough experience on road courses that he can be a solid cash play down here for you. And John Hunter Nemechek, almost dead last in practice, a volatile driver. I don't see why you would need him for like 6K. Like, trying to see, I guess maybe for like the place differential because who's around him? Austin Dillon, no, because he's 2, 4, 6, almost 7 place differential potential points away from him. Priest, same thing. You're like 6. You probably, if you're playing somebody down here, like why wouldn't you just save the 600 or $700 and play the two guys that are like 1 or 2 positions ahead of him? Like I just see like that's my approach on John Hunter Nemechek, and I just have seen him off the course too many times into too many obstacles. Ty Dillon, I'm not really confident on a road course. Josh Berry is a good driver, but has really not shown much on road courses. Austin Cindric, I think, will be super chalk down here. He was 6th in practice. He looked really good. Um, if the qualifying run, so he's going to be super chalky down here, and probably everybody's like prime or core play. And then Cody Ware, I just is the equipment like, can you stay on the lead lap? Is it just not a good road course driver? Not a great car. Nothing here says, but like at 5K doesn't need much to happen, so I can see him potentially like objection. He's almost at 20 DK points, which almost gives you 4x. So what would he have to do? Bonuses, like what would get you about 20 points? So if he would finish 31st, so he's starting 37, so that would give him 6 DK points. And with the bonus, that would give him 16. He'd have to finish like 29th or 30th to get to like 4x, which is what I'm really looking at. I don't know if that happens. It's not a huge mountain to climb, but it's Cody Ware. There's a lot of good cars here. And I don't know, maybe there's an accident early like there was on lap 3, and Carson Hocevar ends up in the wall and takes like 3 or 4 other people with him. And then Cody Ware moves up through attrition. I mean, he's an attrition play. He's not going to go out there and run a successful road course and completely like wow us. I just don't see that in the cards. But hopefully this helps with the breakdown. I know if you're new to like NASCAR DFS, it's been all over the place with like how we approach things, but we'll start to in the next couple of weeks go to like Vegas and Phoenix and stuff, get on some like intermediate tracks, and it'll be a little bit easier because then we'll be picking out dominators and looking for place differential where we can versus, just like how special like these tracks are, just trying to nail down the winner. You especially want to do that on FanDuel. So again, strategy is try to pick who you think is going to win in cash. I think you want to look at Reddick, Elliott, Van Gisberger, Larson. In tournaments, look at those ones, but also throw in Suarez, Chastain, and Allmendinger. The 100K guys, play them, but play them with the primes or cash plays, like add some floor to some of those like upside plays there. So it's not like a complete throw caution to the wind or YOLO lineup. And like I said, I think you have a solid play down here with Cindric. I think Bell is another solid place differential play to add to him. And I'm going with Van Gisbergen just for what I've seen over the last won the Chicago race on a street course, which was kind of similar to road course, and just had a lot of success in Xfinity, dominating, winning road courses, and Liz looked really good in Cup. And I know that there's a couple drivers that are starting ahead of him, but I just think he'll find his way out to the lead and have a really solid race and do really well here. So I got for you. If you have any questions, put in chat below. Hit me with number 31 on Twitter, X. If you want more information on FSIDFS, it's in the description of the video. So you can go in there, like I said, get in our Discord. It's free to do that. And you can ask me questions, especially if for some reason we don't have video, or if for some reason if you can't see the page of the video, like some people said. I tried to make it a little bit bigger this week, but if not, then you can get in the Discord, just ask me for it, and I can like send it to you or post it for you, stuff like that. So thanks again for watching. If these videos help you, please help us back. Like, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, so you know when the videos come out, and share with your friends. So thanks again for watching. Hope you have an amazing weekend. We'll be back next week for Las Vegas. And I think let's see, do we have all the series going next week? Schedule. Las Vegas. So Cup Series at Las Vegas, Xfinity at Las Vegas, and Trucks at Las Vegas. So try to do videos for all three. If they might be speculation videos, if it's going to be that quick window between qualifying and same day, and then you got like a 3 hour window before the race actually starts. It's impossible to get videos in those like time frames, so usually try to do a speculation video the day before, and they've been pretty much spot on also. So thanks for watching. I'm gonna hop off so I can get this uploaded and get some sleep tonight. And again, good luck in your contest tomorrow. Ask questions in the chat if you have anything, and I'll see you next week.